When I got injured, everyone was like, I should make a vlog or do this or do that. But I thought to myself, I'm not the only person that suffered from a long-term injury. Although my experiences can relate to some people, others' experiences just as important as mine. It's in unity that our greatest strength lies. The more individuals that rally your cause, the better. And that's why Injury Chronicles was birthed. So we have come together to share our experiences through a series of personal interviews. Everyone has their own story. Do not fear being the one true maverick you were born to be. Create your narrative and inspire.
My name's Darius Charles. In 2018, I was diagnosed with a labral tear in my hip. This is my road to recovery. So, like most of us, man, football was our escape, innit? We come from, backgrounds, certain areas where, there's not much for us to do. And we find enjoyment and fun in football, playing in cages, playing against other estates. And that was really kind of like what gave me my first experience or taste of football. I became a pro at the age of 18 by the grace of God, and a lot of hard work. And then in 2018, as I was coming to the end of my time at Wimbledon, I got diagnosed with a labral tear in my hip. I remember playing a game against Bristol Rovers at home when I was at Wimbledon, and leading up to the game in the warm-up, like my hip just felt stiff, like it was just locked. And I never felt anything like it before, and it wasn't necessarily painful. But I remember at halftime I had to come off. And then when I spoke to the physio, he kind of, from my symptoms, knew what it was. But this is something that a lot of footballers have because of the nature of the sport. So labral tears for most footballers are asymptomatic, like they don't experience any pain, any problems. It just so happened that in my case, I was experiencing pain. And then that was kind of like the beginning of this story with regards to, me having to find a way to get back to playing the sport I loved. So when I came off that day, I remember being out for 2 weeks and not feeling as though it was anything that serious. I had an injection in my hip, and anyone that's had an injection in the hip knows the needle's it's huge because the hip joint's deep. And after that, about 2 weeks later, I got back to playing, but I could still feel it. And because we were training at AstroTurf on the time, I didn't really think it was that bad. I just felt like my body can't deal with the Astro, which, most players, they don't really like training Astro anyway. But it wasn't till I ended up going to Wycombe at the beginning of the next season, going for a medical, and I failed my medical because I had fluid on my hip. And that was weird to me because I'd done an off-season program, and I was out running, working out, and I felt absolutely fine. And then the physio at that point kind of went into, what the issue was in my hip. And he said to me, at some point in time, you'll need hip surgery. But because I'd experienced surgery before in my career, that didn't ring any alarm bells for me. That was just something I'd experienced before. I'd been there, done it, not a problem. But unbeknownst to me, 3 days later in pre-season, I had to pull out. And again, that was when it became apparent to me the seriousness of the nature of what was going on. To this day, I've never experienced anything as challenging in my life. Facts. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But when I sat in that surgeon's office and he told me I'd never play again, boy. When someone says something to you or gives you some news and if you speak, you're just gonna start bawling. I just sat there for 10 minutes and I couldn't say a word. I zoned out. And the only thing that was going through my mind was like just remembering myself as a young child, like just kicking ball, like enjoying every moment, being able to play for hours on end and then play the next day hours on end. And then in one moment, like being told I'll never be able to do it again. I can't even tell you what that feels like. As I said before, I just wouldn't wish that type of feeling on my worst enemy. Did I have a support system? Let me tell you something, yeah? There's certain people, certain teams I've come across in my life, and I've, had great success with these teams. But you see that club Wycombe, yeah? You never really know the measure of a man until you're in situations where you need people most, yeah? They were my crutch, bro. They done things for me that I've never, ever seen people in football or a football club do for others or experience myself. They let me come back to train with them. They had no reason to. They signed me. They had no reason to. Like the grace, the compassion, the kindness that they showed me, bro, there was days where I turned up to training crying. Like I had to cry. Like I couldn't, and you already know what it is. Like man does not want to come to training crying. Like that's just not what we do. Like crying isn't what we do. But there was days, bro, where I don't even want to name people because I don't even want to leave people out. You feel me? The whole team, the club, management staff, CEO, all of them, bro, they raised me up. And really and truly, they were the only people that could, because people outside of what we do can't simply fathom what it is we have to do to be in the position we're in. Your mum loves you, your dad loves you, your uncles, your aunties, your grandparents, all of them, your friends, they love you, but they're not in this environment. So they can't. You go home and they just, as desperate as they are to help you, they just say all the wrong things because they don't know, you feel me? But they were there, and that's the most important thing. But in terms of the people that really had the biggest influence in dragging me through, Wycombe. I put myself in certain situations that were based on like the emptiness that was inside me. Like one time, man was in King's Cross crying, bro. Like I broke down in the middle of King's Cross because of a relationship that I was in that was toxic. It didn't serve me, but I was in it to fill that void, like find love in something because I'd lost it in football. And that's just one example of where I was at. I was desperately trying to find love in people because I didn't have it in myself. Because I'd lost love. I was grieving. It was literally like it was like losing someone you love. That's how I felt, because I'd lost me. Like I had died. Like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like I had died. I had to go to therapy because I was spiraling out of control. I've always been in control in my life. Always kind of, even when I'm mad or whatever, I still have control over myself. I was out of control. There was certain things that man was willing to do that just didn't even remotely look like me. Like I couldn't even be a dad. Anyone that knows me knows how much I love my son. I could not even be a dad to my son because of what I was going through. And if it was not for therapy, God only knows. I don't want to make it bigger than what it is, and I don't know what I would have done. I just know at that time, I wasn't able to stop myself. The future belongs to those who prepare today. And you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. So if I had been preparing myself in terms of my mental and my physical throughout my life, then I believe I would have had the tools to deal better with that situation. So yeah, I would have experienced grief, I would have experienced sadness, anger, pain, because that's part of the process. But what I would have had is tools that would have helped me go, okay, like, be kind to yourself. You can say, why me, why me, why me? But it is you. Understand that it is you. And being angry at everyone in the world and God doesn't serve you. You're choosing your suffering. I was living in darkness. And my goal was to become a professional footballer again. From the moment I changed my mindset or decided that I was going to be the cause to the effects that happened in my life, as opposed to being a victim of the cause that had happened, the path just illuminated itself. And you know how that story ends. You think I could have foreseen that? Impossible. Never. But when I changed my mindset and was in a place ready to get back to where I wanted to be, bro, the path, it just started lighting up in front of me. I just started taking one step in front of the other. And now I understood the direction that I needed to head in. And as I was on that journey, these opportunities and people came into my life. Someone from Ability, a mentor here, there, and everywhere, a physio. And lo and behold, I kind of just looked up and was like, right, I'm here. This is where I'm at. You know what's crazy? I remember, it's like, you know, you work so hard for such a long period of time and then everything just clicks and it feels like it just happened overnight. Bro, I'd spent 7 months working tirelessly to just get a professional contract. And I remember signing it on like the Thursday. And like the most random of events happened. So we're playing, I don't even know who we played at home. I can't even remember, maybe Luton or something like that. No, it wasn't Luton because they weren't in that league at the time. But I can't remember, we played someone, right? And I remember defender gets injured on the Saturday. And these times, like when I signed, I just said to the manager, like, use me at your disposal. If I don't play a single minute, I'm good, because I'm not even meant to be here. Defender gets injured on the Saturday. On the Sunday, there's a madness going on at the club. Our captain leaves on the Monday. We got Fleetwood away on the Tuesday. So we're traveling up to Fleetwood on Monday on the coach. And me, just minding my own business, I'm not even thinking, right, we've got, there's 2 centre halves out. But in my head is not processing the scenario because I'm giddy, I'm still happy to be here. So we run the coach up and like the man never liked to me, you reckon you'll play tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, all right, good one, shut up, bruv. Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, be easy, like, relax. They're like, nah, you got to. I said, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. So then we get to the hotel that night, and the manager goes to me, what do you reckon about tomorrow? I said, excuse me? He goes, you reckon you could play? And there's me like, I'm like, yeah, go for I'll play. Like, because I'm like, yeah, I'll play. So bro, I barely slept that night because you know what's crazy? As hard as I worked to get back to where I was, I didn't envisage playing again. So the anxiety I had that night and that day leading into the game, oh my God, like, I didn't ask for this. What if I go out there and I break down? What if like someone makes a fool out of me? Because say what you want, at my best, I'm a player. You feel me? But now I'm not Darius pre-injury, I'm Darius post-injury. So I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know who that player is. So all of these things are running through my head. Shit, man, I'm scared. Like, what if man runs me in the channel? Like, what if he puts me on the foot? Like, all these things going through my head. And this is where therapy came into play for me, because meditation became a huge part of that season. It's a huge part of my life, but in particular, that season. So I remember feeling so agitated and nervous. And what I would do, what became a routine before every game, was I'd sit down literally a minute before he was meant to go out. And I would just take 5 to 10 breaths. We went out there and we're doing a warm up and the boys were all like clapping like, welcome back, D. And that was the first time I got choked up because I was like, shit, I'm here. And then the whistle blow, a little tear rolled down my cheek. And then we got to work, baby. And we ended up drawing 1-0. And I just remember after the game thinking to myself, God is good, boy. God is good. Yeah, man. You know what I would say? And this might come across harsh, but for me, this is the cold reality. If you're not willing to do everything humanly possible in your power and be okay if you don't make it back, then don't even bother. Don't bother. As soon as I made the decision, I never felt sorry for myself. I didn't cry. I didn't complain. I got to work. That was it. So if you are not willing to accept that it won't happen doing all you can do, don't bother. Don't bother. That point blank, plain period. You're going to have to address me differently, you know? Because I know my thing. No, big man thing. But I know my thing. Like, I know where I am willing to go mentally, physically, emotionally for the things I want. I know what I'm capable of. So for me, it's not about, and I saw this quote the other day and it just rang so true to me. It's not about what you achieve on the journey. It's about who you're becoming. You see the man I am today, yeah? It's different, you know? It's different. I don't know, and I'm not just saying that to be, because I think I'm wicked and bad. I'm saying that because I put the work in and I know what it takes. And I know most people aren't willing to go there to become what they want to be. And everything that I will go on to achieve, places that I'll be able to see, people I'll be able to meet, means less to me or isn't as important as the person I'm becoming while I'm on this journey. And that's what I learned. Jesus Christ! They didn't want me to play! God did! God did! Nah, bro. Nah, I appreciate that, bro. But you know how we are. We're very dismissive about how we chat. Like, man will ask you, like, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, man. Like, obviously, it is what it is, but like, I'm working. But we never really like slow down, take time and go, bro, I'm done, man. Like, I'm done, bro. Like, it's hard, man.